So this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and it's time to start working on the Kriat Shemah. We're in the first rush, and we're at the top of page Lamed Aleph. I want to urge anyone who is interested in this subject to buy these books. As I've said before, they keep the author writing, and there's a lot of secrets inside of this book, and you're going to get into the river of the Sod. So what we're going to do here is that this is quite a little bit richus, and I'm going to try to read across the top as much as possible. I see there's questions across the top. And so let's see what goes on. So we are exploring into inner space. Please come along with me as I am learning this as well. So he says, so now we're going to explain what the rabbi said. Everybody has to be very careful about davening mincha, or what happens at the mincha davening. And he says, why? Shahari Eliyahu zal lo ne'ena ella, I guess he's going to say, b'mincha time. Now, I'm not sure what this means, so let's go on. This is the secret of what the rabbis say. Man should always be careful about mincha time. Eliyahu lo ne'ena ela b'tefillas mincha. He was only answered during the time of the prayer of mincha. So the reason why there is no time, that you would have a situation where the male and the female, meaning zocher benok or zer anpen and malchus, but he has shir kumasun shava, that they actually are the same height. We're talking about Zer Anpin, not Yaakov and Rachel. We're not talking about Yisrael and Leah. We're talking about the Malchus and Zer Anpin, the same height. Shava, so Kumalso Shava Lo Ella B'Mincha. That's a time when their heights are the same. I don't have an explanation. I'm just reading the top. This is the topic. So what's the reason why Eliyahu was not answered at the mincha time? So the Inyan is like this. Know this. Eliyahu zal, Eliyahu zachron levracha, yesh the shamos Nadav-Abihu. He has within them the neshamas of Nadav-Abihu kanoida, which is a known fact. I don't think I do it, but let's go on. So he's Kayin, and all of these three, Eliyahu, Nadav-Abihu, and are aspects of Kayin, Adam Arishon's first son. Shehi a nefesh and nikra malchus, because he is the aspect of the nefesh. Nefesh is the lowest level of light, and it is pnimi to malchus, so it's related to malchus. Besod anachno tameim the nefesh Adam. Like, this is the secret of this concept, that we are tame from the nefesh, from a man's nefesh. It sounds like a person became tame nefesh. Now let's understand, Nadav and Abihu, who lost their lives bringing a strange offering before Hashem. He says they lost their lives, but the mayim nukvin, that is, that they actually were self-sacrificed. That's something like that. And as a result of that, they became an aspect of prayer from the bottom to the top. And this is the reason why Eliyahu was zeicha to this a tremendously high level. Avru bo neshamas Nadav and Abihu, and that happened when they were incarnated in him, the souls of Nadav and Abihu. Then his name changed. It was originally Pinchas. It was changed to Eliyahu. The fish Eliyahu b'gematria ben, because if you take the gematria of Eliyahu, you find that it comes to 52, which is the number for Malchus, of the Yud Kei Vav Kei of Malchus. Communion Havaya de Ben Dehayin, which is the concept, as we know, the Havaya de Ben, which is the Havaya of Hayin. And what is it? She, that is this Ben, is the concept of the man of Malchus. Man, remember, man always means shefa. It's actually a pleading, a begging, and eschanan, like we saw in the parsha from last week. It's a pleading from the bottom. So he says that's what Mayim Nukvin is, asking for help from up above. So he said, Eliyahu na'ana b'tefilas mincha. So therefore Eliyahu corresponding to Kayin and Nadav-Abihu. Eliyahu is answered at the time of mincha. Ki oz ha'alam man elo, because this is the time that this Mayim Nukvin is brought up. Ki oz he hoiset tzricha lezeh knizker, because then she needs that, as mentioned. He said, I already told you this one place else. Ki mitzias Mitzrayim, ki mi yitzias, from the time of leaving Egypt, ad binyan Beis HaMikdash, until the time of the construction of the Beis HaMikdash. Talmid hoyezav v'nok ach ba'ach zer anpen, and his malchus were always back to back, in a defensive position. Vein kamasu shavalo, she was not at his height, his same height. They were back to back, but she is at his chest and on the back of him, and he's all the way up. He has a rosh above her. Raki omedes min achaz shelo lamata, she only stands from his chest going downward. Shesham hu makom libo shel zah, because this is the place of the heart of Zah. Now, what that meant, I don't know. Nimsa trel malchus nikra libam. And so malchus, another word for malchus is libam, their heart. Hoysa achronis, she was on the back. Im Zah, together with Zer Anpin. Varosha Megia ad Sham, and her head reaches to the place which is his chest, which is where his heart is located. Ad makom tibura de liba, which is the place that normally the tibura liba, which means the belly button of the heart, has a slightly different meaning. It usually means the halfway mark of the body. In other words, from the shoulders down to the yesod area, that's all the body, and this would be like the halfway mark. That's what I normally learn this to be. We'll see what the Tiv Gavano says. Bilvad. So she only reached to the Tibura de Liba Lebad, lo malo is that, not higher than that. V'zeh she'amar hakasa v'ata hasbosa as liban achrones. So they put their hearts directed backwards. I don't know this word hasbosa, so hopefully I'll be able to get it as we come back. Shal yedei kain hakali hoyemizgarvim b'yom, because through this, the fact, I'm not sure what he meant here. Shal yedei kach hakali hoyemizgarvim b'yom, but for this reason, the kali where it become much, much stronger. Uvakol zaman shahoy Yisrael ovdei avodah zara al admalsam, that as long as we were in Eretz Yisrael and we were worshiping idols, Bekevin shagavruch of a kali, and the kali became more powerful. Garmel the Yisrael lachtoi, it caused us to sin. Now that little piece right here had something to do with the positioning of malchus, I thought, but I'm not sure, as they are back to back, but I'm not sure what it meant. So therefore Eliyahu fixed it. Because through his prayers, he caused the Mayim Nukvin prayers, that's what prayers are, Mayim Nukvin, he caused the Mayim Nukvin to go up. Came also on the cave Achronis the Mala, and because a result of that, it allowed the female aspect, which is Malchus, to go up ad Resha de Zer Anpin Mamish, until she reached the level of Zer Anpin Mamish, below ad alev bilvad, and not just to the chaza, or the place of the heart, kamo b'techila, like it was at the beginning. So now he says like this, v'nachsa le'inyanenu. So let's go back to what we've been saying. He says, Ki af al pi shemachsos mechatzos hayom ve'elok, even though we understand from the midday point and onwards, mishtanach hazaman v'hamamshal, time changes. It's like refracting the light slightly different. It's a zman v'hamamshal, and all the control that goes along with it and what's happening, and it changes too. Im kol zeh adayin hu michlal mamshala sayom, but even so, it's still part of the concept of the day. Now we know that after Chatzos is beginning of the time of the Shlita of Gevurah. So the Shlita of Gevurah, of course, means a different Shlita altogether. So he said, even so that this has happened, it's still under the control of the concept of the daytime. So therefore, when you said that Shachris, you said Shema in the Shachris, it's sufficient because it's still day, it's a continuation, and it doesn't need a new Shachris. It still works for the Yichud that needs to take place at Mincha time. Arvis, but at nighttime. Shehu Midas Lila, which is the Midah of Lila. Now we're in another dimension or another refraction. Var Nipsak Vakala Haman Bishnei Hazivugim. Now there is no longer Mayim Nukvin coming up from the two Yehudim that we have been able to place through our prayers in Shachris and Mencha, the Shachris and Mencha. Because now at nighttime it needs something new. It needs a new Kriya Shema. The Arvis, for the purpose of making a Yichud, but this Yichud would be a Ach Ta'ach Yichud that takes place at nighttime. And that's the reason why we say Kriya Shema at night. Now there's still a lot of vagary here, a lot of vague, but we're going to go on. But now since we have a yichud that it's only in the level of ach ba'ach. Previously it said ach ta'ach means that both Malchus and Zer Anpin, the Kalim that hold their light, which probably is their names, associated with their names, he said that the Kalim are composed of an inner part, a middle part, and an outer part. And he referred to at Mincha time the Yichud of Ach Ba'ach because the Yichud that's taking place is in the middle part. And it's not as Ma'ula, it's not the high level that it was when it was in the morning, which is upon him. Now we're at nighttime, and it's for sure a time which is not day, and so therefore it's Ach Ta'ach. Bashir Kamalsa ad Halei Bilvad Kednizker, and the height of Malchus is only coming to the chest, as we mentioned. So therefore there's no reason for Nefilas Apayim another time now. Now he had mentioned this phrase before where he says Ein Sorach Nefilas Apayim. He had mentioned it before, but it really needs understanding of why it is that when you have this yichud you don't need a Nefilas Apayim. The Kriya Shema the Arvis. Now talking about this Kriya Shema at nighttime, it's not on the same level at all as the Kriya Shema the Shachris. Because it's the Yichud that is only Ach Ta'ach. V'gam ki hi the Leiv Kednizkar. Not only that, but Malchus is short. She's not at her whole height. So therefore, it's the potential. Her potential is much more weak. So the energy that is going to come from this is not going to be like it was at Shachris, and that's it. And even like Mincha. But the nighttime one, it only helps for the purpose of hugging. Now we have to understand that you have different levels. You have hugging and you have the sheikhin. There should be 3 levels, but I know there's hugging in the sheikhin. So the Inyan is like this, and we have a nice tiv on that. Maybe we can hear it a lot more. So he said, the Inyan is like this, after midnight. Mis orach hasmol lachabek as a matronisa l'tzorach hayom. Is that there is an arousing of the left line, that is the left arm of Zer Anpin, the chabek to hug at hamatronisa l'tzorach hayom. And why does he do this? He does it for the sake of what's coming in the daytime. What will happen after this, in the secret of this phrase, which we've seen in many places, and I hope we get a really deeper understanding of it, which is besod the smolol tachas l'roshi, that his left arm was under my head. So this chibuk, which is the chibuk of the left, it takes place as a result of the Kriya Shema that we're able to say at nighttime. Now, one more piece, and we're getting close here. V'amnam the Kriya Shema she'al hamida. So we say like this: the Kriya Shema that we say when we go to bed, and then me'inyan nizkar kalal. It's not one of these ideas at all. Amnam b'kavonahu, but the kavona at midnight is k'dei l'hamshech al yedei hayichudahu, in order to bring down through this yichud, or chazak min abba ve'ima el zer anpin fanuk, bring a very strong light from the dimension up above zer anpin and nuk, which is called chokhmah and bina, or Yisrael Sabbath Tavuna, depending. K'dei she'hem yischadshu, because now they're becoming renewed. I want to renew them. V'chazgu as in the neshamas ha'olim sham b'kol laila, and to be able to fortify the neshamas that go up, because when we're sleeping, our neshamas are moving up. B'sel chadash and the b'karim, which is something new for the morning. Nimsa, k'akriya shema da'arvis. So it comes out like this, that the kriya shema that takes place at nighttime, hu l'tzorach ha'chibuk hana'aser acher chatzos, is for the reason of this hugging that takes place after midnight. V'zeh ha'ichud the kriya shema she'al hamida. Now we have described what is the 4 different times, that is the Shachris, Mincha, Maariv, and now coming to Kriya Shema L'Lamita. So he said, V'zeh ha'ichud the kriya shema she'al hamida, hu l'tzorach hidush ha'neshamos k'nizkar, is for the purpose of renewing the shamos, as we mentioned. That's it. Baruch Fleischman going through this. Tomorrow, with God's help, we'll take a look at what the Tiv has to say, and we'll try to flush it out. All the best.